जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 Jai Mishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharishtottar Satar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharishtottar Satar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। थोड़ा हाइट करो इसको, हाइट करो, बंद करने के लिए नहीं बोला, हाइट बढ़ाने के लिए बोला। उसको नीचे वाला घुमाओ, नहीं, आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू टू डू ऑल दैट। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, text number 24. Ta yete sadhavah sadvi tayete sadhavah sadvi tayete sadhavah sadvi sarva sanga vivarjitaha sarva sanga vivarjitaha सर्वसंग विवर्जिताः संगः तेषु अथ ते प्रार्थ्यः संगस्त्वेषथ ते प्रार्थ्यः संगस्त्वेष्वथ ते प्रार्थ्यः संग दोष हरा ही ते संगदोषहराहिते संगदोषहराहिते तयेते साधवः साध्वी सर्वसंगविवर्जिताः संगस्तेष्वतते प्रार्थ्यः संगदोषहराहिते तयेते साधवः साध्वी सर्वसंगविवर्जिताः संगस्तेष्वतते प्रार्थ्यः संगदोषहराहिते। ते एते those very sadhavaha devotees sadhvi virtuous lady sarva all sangha attachments vivarjitaha freed from sangaha, attachment, teshu, unto them, atha, hence, te, by you, prarthyaha, must be sought, sanga dosha, the pernicious effects of material attachment, haraha, counteractors of, he, indeed, te, they. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Kindly repeat. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother, Devahuti, that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad-gita, 15th chapter, verse 5, it is stated who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. It is said there, Nirmana moha jitasanga doshaha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich, opulent, or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence, is false, because this body itself is false or temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first of all be free from the association of the three modes of nature. Our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of associating with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in Bhagavad-gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, jitasanga doshaha, one should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. Here also, in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, this is confirmed. A pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific, and other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association which helps one to get free from all material association. If anyone has reached the stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become freed from all material association. Because a devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. How is it possible? There is a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kittens in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus, both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas when the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat, the rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhavaha or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of persons engaged in Krishna consciousness, and by such association he will benefit in spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. In my childhood, we used to live in a neighborhood where around our house also there were many children. I would every day come back from school, and when I come back from school, we all friends will get together and we'll start playing gully cricket, street cricket. That used to be our favorite activity. Sometimes the ball would go and land in some other house's compound. Sometimes it would go and break one window. Then we have to go. Then when the window breaks, all of us will disappear. And after half an hour, 1 hour, slowly, one by one, we'll go to that house owner. Sorry, this, that. They will scold us a little and give back the ball. This used to be a constant thing. And when I grew up a little more, when I came to 9th standard, 8th standard, 9th standard, I started paying more attention to my studies. Until that time, playing was very attractive. And my parents, my mother, my father, they would all keep calling me after half an hour, 1 hour. Enough of play, come. I would be unwilling to go. By the time I came to 8th standard, 9th standard, some amount of maturity, 10th standard is board exams, we had to prepare for that, became a little more serious. And so, automatically, although I would come home and play a little bit, but without my parents calling itself, I would go back to the house and start studying. And every year in school, it was a practice that during the summer holidays, my sister and I would go to our native place. And we would be there for 1.5 months. And during that time, morning, get up, have breakfast, then go out. And because my native place was in Kerala, it was more of a football, soccer. We used to play in the fields, barefoot soccer. Morning till afternoon soccer, then come back home, take a little lunch, go out, then again play cricket. And morning 9 till about evening 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, continuously play. This used to be the practice. By the time I came to +1, next year is again, +2 is very crucial because you have to write the entrance examination, then you get selected for either engineering or medical or whatever you have applied for. When I came to +1, didn't go to the native place at all. That 1.5 months, sat at home, completely finished all the syllabus of mathematics, of physics, 2-3 subjects finished during the holidays itself. After that, in the classes started, then the teacher would come and put one equation on the board. Before the half equation is over, I'll be telling the answer. Because already finished, no, the whole syllabus. All other students, they look at me. வெளியில் வாப்பா பார்த்துக்கிறோம், ஒரு கை பார்த்துக்கிறோம். You fellow, even before question is getting completed, you're telling answer, come outside, we'll see you. It used to be like that. And then, of course, we came to engineering, got into engineering. And when I got into engineering, somehow it got into my mind, it became my dream that I have to get into IIM and I have to do my MBA. And so I decided that 4 years of engineering, after that 1 year I'll work outside, because somebody had advised, if you have 1 year of work experience, it will help you to get into IIM. It will have an added weightage. I don't know how far it's true. Still, we would have to write the CAT examination, get in. So that became the dream. Studied well, because you have to perform well in academics. Otherwise, you cannot, not easy to get into IIM. At the moment this one was over, my engineering was over, somehow found a job, got into a job. Then, you know how it is in the corporate life, and the annual appraisals and performance and all these kind of things. And started earning my own money, good. And I used to wear all expensive branded cloth and branded shoes, and dress myself very nicely, go to the office and show off that I'm self-employed. I'm an employed person now. Now I have my own salary. I am standing on my feet and all that. And then, after a few months, started preparing seriously for my CAT exam. When I was preparing for my CAT exam, every day, morning, 8 o'clock, go to the office. Evening by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, come back home and sit and study for preparations for the CAT exam. That used to go on. And that was the dream. Somehow I had to get into IIM. And I'd enrolled for all the coaching classes and all those kind of things. It was during that time that I came in touch with Krishna consciousness. As I started involving myself more and more, immersing myself more and more in Krishna consciousness, what happened? Slowly, my priorities in life started changing. And somehow, that year, the December month came, the CAT examination, wrote the CAT examination. Somehow, didn't get through IIM. I didn't get into IIM. I got into Manipal Institute. Manipal is also quite a reputed institute. But I said, I'm not going to get into Manipal. I'm not going there. Because from getting into IIM, by the time I wrote the CAT exam, I decided if at all I get in, I had to get into IIM Bangalore only. Because I didn't want to go out of the association of the temple and devotees in Bangalore. Anywhere else I go, I don't know whether I'll get the association of temple, devotees. So I decided, if at all I go, I have to go to IIM Bangalore. Although I got into Manipal Institute, so many people advised me, Manipal, very good institute, get into it. After that, your future is secure and all that. I said, who will go to Manipal? There is no temple there, there is no association of devotees. I am going here only. Then I thought, okay, no problem, 1 more year, I will prepare and again I will write the CAT exam. Decided in my mind and started again preparing. Again, slowly over a few more months passed, then I realized, I read in the Nectar of Instruction, prayasa or over endeavor is bad for spiritual life. Then I started thinking, once I wrote the CAT exam, I didn't get through. Now again I am thinking of writing the CAT exam, is this not over endeavor? I dropped that. I said, I'm not going to write again. Over. One trial, I failed. I'm not going to try again. Gave that up. And by that time, what happened? All my attraction for good clothes, branded clothes and all those things, that also slowly started going off. And people started saying, I'm wearing Hawaii chappal and walking around. I'm wearing clothes which are all crumpled, old, torn. And everybody is saying, why? What happened? Today's world, they would have asked, some love failure people would have thought. Those days, no girlfriend and all those things were non-existent in India. So everyone was breaking their head. What happened to this fellow? Sudden transformation. Few more months, left everything, joined the temple. You see how, I'm sure all of you would have more or less gone through the same kind of experience, a similar experience. especially those who are in the temple. Even otherwise, even if you are still outside also, more or less similar experience you will go through. Actually, if you analyze little, when I was a child, I was attached to playing. When I grew up a little, came to high school, understood the importance of studying, I gave up my attachment to playing and transferred that attachment to studying. And then when I studied and I got into a job, then what happened? The transfer happened from studying to spending money nicely, having a good life, wearing good branded clothes, expensive clothes, and shoes and such stuff. Then what happened? Then Krishna consciousness came. Then that attachment to have a good career, become somebody in life, and get into IIM, all that went away. That got replaced by attachment to the temple and to association of devotees in the temple. And then finally what happened? Ultimately, all attachment to family, to one's career and making money, all these things also went finally in the temple. Now, some of my friends with whom I used to play in the streets during my younger days, they never gave up their attachment for playing. They went on playing. Every day, morning to evening, they would be playing in the street. Eventually, what happened? I got into school, I did my +2, I came into engineering. These people are still playing in the street, and they dropped out of college, they couldn't complete their studies, and by the time I got into a job, these people are struggling. Someone went into one restaurant, one small hotel, and became a cashier there. Another guy became some mechanic somewhere, and their future all became very poor like this. Why? Because they did not give up their attachment for playing. Because they did not give up their attachment for playing, their future was gone. They spoiled their own future. Somehow in my case, I gave up my attachment to playing, got attached to studies, so I could study further. And then I could get a job and all those kind of things. What we can understand from this is, you cannot give up attachment altogether. The propensity for attachment always will remain. But you can transfer your attachment from some lower object to a higher object. When we are children, we are attached to playing. When we grow up a little, become a little mature, we understand the importance of education, we get attached to studying. Then automatically we give up our attachment for playing. Then we get attached to our career and all those kind of things, we give up our attachment for studies. So like this, and if you are fortunate enough to come into Krishna consciousness, your attachment for your career, job, money, family, all these things will also go away. Therefore, you cannot give up the propensity for attachment. You can transfer your attachment from a lower object to a higher object. That is possible. And that is exactly what Kapila Dev is telling Devahuti here. How nicely he is saying. He is saying, Sangasteshu prarthyaha. Who is that teshu? Sangas sadavaha te prarthyaha. You have to seek out the association of pure devotees, he is telling his mother. And by seeking out, by becoming attached to the devotees, Sangaha teshu prarthya, by becoming attached to devotees, what happens? Sangadosha harahite. It will take away the bad effects of attachment. You become attached, the bad effects of attachment, which is to get stuck to this world of repeated birth and death, will be solved. That will go away. That attachment will go away. So you attach to become detached. That is the formula which is given by Kapila Dev in his teachings to Devahuti. And Prabhupada is quoting a verse from the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, the 5th verse, where Krishna says, Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimuktaha sukadukha sanjnair gacchantya mudhaha padamavyayam tat. Krishna is saying that when we become nirmana moha, Krishna is actually telling how we become detached, how we become detached and become liberated, how we go back to the spiritual world. To go back to the spiritual world, one has to become detached from our material attachments, as Kapila Devi is telling in today's verse. That sangas teshvatate pratyah sanga dosha harahite. Sanga dosha, what is the sanga dosha? What is the dosha? What is the fault in associating with, what is the fault in becoming attached to material things? You will become stuck to this world of repeated birth and death. You cannot be liberated. Now, if you want to be liberated, Krishna is saying that the same thing, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. You have to, the beginning is, you have to become free from jita sanga dosha. You have to become free from the faulty association. To become free from the faulty association, what is required? Before that, even before becoming free from faulty association, what is required? Nirmana moha. Nirmana. Mana means a great estimation or great respect or pride in material things. This is my country, this is my religion, I am a man, I am a woman, I am so educated, I've got such a good job, I've got a prestigious status in society. We attach great importance to these kind of considerations. And we become attached to these things. Oh, nationalism, our country, we have to fight for our country, we have to fight for our dharma. I have to work hard and improve my position in the society. I have to earn more wealth. And with that, I have to buy a bigger bungalow. I have to get a bigger car. All these things we take a lot of pride in. Now, Krishna is saying, nirmana, one has to give up taking pride in all these kind of things. Why? Because moha, these are all actually illusory. Ultimately, today I may be born in India and I may be a great nationalist and I have to fight for India's security, sovereignty and all those kind of things. And I keep thinking, Pakistan in my enemy country, I have to finish Pakistan. One day I will die. While dying also I am thinking, I have to finish Pakistan, I have to finish Pakistan. What will happen? Next life I will take birth in Pakistan. I will be a Pakistani. Then what happened to my nationalism? Nationalism will get transferred to the enemy country. What is the use? And no matter how much I may feel pride, my status, I've earned money, I've got a big house, I've got a big family and all those things, family, house, big bank balance, I build up all these things. Ultimately, at the time of death, I have to give up everything and go. After my time, somebody else will start claiming it is his own. I worked hard. I earned all the money. I made the big bank balance. I built the big house. I bought the big car. All these things I did. But after my death, somebody else will sit on that and enjoy that. This is, therefore, to think that all these things are mine. This body is mine, this land is mine, this country is mine, this family is mine, this wealth is mine, this house is mine. This is all illusion. And Krishna is saying, nirmana moha. This illusion that this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, cannot go until we become nirmana. We stop becoming proud of all these material possessions. Until we become humble, until we give up our sense of pride in material achievements and accumulations, we cannot become free of the illusion that all these things belong to me, that all these things which are actually temporary are all permanent. And then, when one becomes free from false pride and one gives up one's attachment to all the material objects as mine, then what? Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. Then we can become free from material attachment, from the attachment to the three modes of material nature and all its corollaries. And then when we become free from material attachment, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha, adhyatma nitya, one becomes eligible to learn spiritual subject matter. We become eligible to receive spiritual knowledge. Until we give up our material association and our illusion and false pride in the material world, we cannot understand spiritual knowledge. Not possible. Because to receive spiritual knowledge also, this is the bare minimum qualification. One should have given up false pride, one should have overcome the illusion that this is mine, and one should have given up one's attachment to one's country, one's family, one's wealth, and all of one's accumulations and one's possessions. Until that time, spiritual knowledge cannot take root in the heart. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha. Then, when one cultivates spiritual knowledge, vinivritta kamaha, one can become free from lust and greed. The lust that I want to enjoy, this is for my enjoyment, this material world is for my enjoyment, one can become free from that lusty desires. And then when one becomes free from lusty desires, then what happens? Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sanjnair. One can become free from the dualities of this material world, beginning with happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. We are so much affected by the happiness and distress in this material world. Any happiness comes, we get elated. And when distress comes, we become depressed. Constantly, like a seesaw, we are going up and down. Like a roller coaster, life is taking us up and down. One happiness will come, it will take us down into one distress. One distress will come, again one happiness will come. Again distress, happiness. Distress, happiness. Like this roller coaster going up and down, up and down. One can become free from this roller coaster ride and become equipoised only when one becomes free from the dualities of this material world. Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sanjnair. Then what happens? Krishna says, Gacchanti amudhaha. One becomes amudha. Mudha means a foolish person. One becomes non-foolish. So what is this definition of mudha? That already Krishna has spoken in the previous chapters in the Bhagavad-gita. Krishna said, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Krishna defined who is a mudha. Krishna said, Avajananti ma mudhaha manushim tanumashritam. Fools, mudhas, they deride Krishna, saying that, oh, Krishna is also an ordinary person like us. Manushim tanumashritam. He is also a human being like us. He is not God. He is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like this, the mudhas, those who are foolish people, they deride. They do not understand. Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto. They do not know param bhavam, that Krishna is transcendental to this material world, to birth, death, disease and old age. He is not influenced by the three modes of material nature, sattva-guna, rajoguna and tamoguna of this material world. He is param bhavam. His stature, his position is beyond the influence of the material modes of nature. He is a completely transcendental personality. This, the mudhas, the fools, they do not know. And param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. And they do not know that Krishna is bhuta maheshwara. He is the Maheshwara, he is the supreme controller of all the living entities. That means there is no one who is superior to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Mudhas, fools, they do not know this. Avajananti. Without knowing this, they think Krishna is also an ordinary person like this. Maybe a little more powerful, maybe a little more intelligent, but he is also a human being like us. He is also within the control of the three modes of material nature. People who think like this are mudhas. When Krishna is saying in the 15th chapter that Gacchanti amudhaha, these people become amudha. They are no longer mudhas. Means what? If you are not a mudha, param bhavam janantaha, you have to know Krishna's position to be the supreme. It should be transcendental. Bhuta maheshwaram, and that Krishna is the controller of all living entities. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must know this. Such people who know this are called amudha. If one has become jitasanga dosha, if one has overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature, if one has become free from attachment to the material world, if he has overcome the influence of all lust and greed, and he has given up his false sense of pride, then such a person can become an amudha. He can understand Krishna's true position. Such a person, gachanti padam avyayam tat. Such people alone can reach the abode of Krishna, which is avyaya, which is eternal. If one does not become an amudha, if one does not understand Krishna's supreme transcendental position, then one will remain amudha. And if one remains amudha, padam avyayam tat, that avyaya pada, that supreme eternal abode we cannot achieve. That means we may become great jnana yogis, we may become great karma yogis, we may become great ashtanga yogis, but if we do not understand the true position of Krishna, we will get stuck to this temporary world. We cannot go to the eternal world. And so this path for liberation, because the question by Devahuti to Kapila Deva was, I got fed up of this material attachment. I want to become free from the material attachment and I want eternal life. That was Devahuti's question at the beginning of this chapter. And so Kapila Deva is coming to that point. Kapila Deva is today, he is answering his mother's this one, that if you become attached to sadhavaha, the devotees, then you can become free from sanga dosha harahite. They will, such pure devotees will remove your attachment to the material objects, material possessions. How do the devotees cut off the attachment which is there in our heart for all kinds of material enjoyment and sense gratification? That is explained by Krishna in the 11th canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, where in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna speaks about how Pururava, a king, he became very much attached to one Apsara by the name Urvashi. And he got married to her, and he was completely enamored by her beauty and by her association. Later, due to some incident, Urvashi left Pururava and went away. And then Pururava became mad. He became literally mad that Urvashi has left me, and he was roaming around like a madman, although he was a great king, he gave up his kingdom, he gave up his palace, became like a beggar in the street, searching, where is Urvashi, where is Urvashi, where is Urvashi? And then he underwent again great tapasyas to get her association and all that. So many things he underwent. Finally, he came to the point of realization that what am I doing? What is this nonsense I am doing? And finally, by Krishna's grace, he could give up his attachment to Urvashi and he got liberated. After explaining this whole incident of Pururava, Lord Krishna told Uddhava, Tato dussangamutsrajya satsu sajjeta puman. Krishna told Uddhava, the moral of Pururava's story is, dussangam utsrajya, one must give up. One must renounce one's attachment to dussanga, to all kinds of material association, women, wealth, education, position, status, power. One must give up one's attachment for all these things. These are all called dussanga. These are bad associations. Why bad associations? Because they will keep you constantly engaged in the cycle of repeated birth and death. They will not allow you to get liberated. Therefore, they are called bad association, dussangam. Tato dussangam usrijya satsu sajjeta puman. Krishna did not tell Uddhava, you should renounce all attachment, finish all attachment, no more attachment, then you are liberated. No. Krishna said, dussangam usrijya, you give a bad association, and satsu sajjeta puman, You must become attached to satas, the devotees. Satsu sajjeta. Sajjeta means one must become attached. Sajjeta means there is no alternative, there is no choice. If you want, you become attached, otherwise you become detached, no problem. No. Sajjeta, one has no option other than to become attached. Attached to whom? Satsu, to the sattvatas, to the devotees of Krishna. Why this attachment to devotees is so much emphasized upon by Krishna? Why Kapila Dev is emphasizing upon it? Why Krishna is emphasizing upon it in the Bhagavad-gita? Because Krishna tells Uddhava, Santa evasya chindanti manovyasangam uktibihi. Manovyasangam. Vyasangam means attachment and manaha means the mind. The attachment of the mind to material things, the propensity of the mind to be attached and attracted to material sense gratification in the material world. Chindanti, that can be cut off, that can be severed by only Santa Evasa Chindanti, by only Santa Eva, only pure devotees can cut off, can sever our attachment to material sense gratification. How do the pure devotees cut off our attachment to material sense gratification? Manovyasangam uktibihi. Uktibihi means by their words, by their instructions, by the words which are coming from their lotus lips, by hearing them and by following those instructions coming from the lotus lips of a pure devotee, we can become free from our attachment to the material world. So that's the way to give up dussanga. Dussangamusrijya satsu sajjeta puman. Santa evasya chindanti manovyasangam uktibihi. Those words of instruction from the pure devotees are the most important thing to sever our attachment to the material world. Going back to the example which I gave, how we all experience this. We have actually practically experienced this in our life. We also at one point of time, we were like everybody else. We wanted to get good marks, get a good job, earn a lot of money, have a nice family. These were our aspirations. Wear good clothes, eat good food, go to good movies. This was our, this one. And when we were children, we were attached to playing. We also had all these attachments. But when we started reading Prabhupada's books, what happened? All that attachment vanished. We lost interest in these things. These things became insignificant for us. What the whole world is running after, the whole world values these things: money, wealth, good family, beautiful spouse, good children, and having one's own house. These things are considered of great value in this material world. Success in the material world is measured by how much we can accumulate these things: family, wealth, bank balance, one's possessions like house, cars, etc. These things are the measure of success in the material world. Everybody is running after this. And what are we doing? We are a few mad people. We said, forget it. We are not interested in these things. No more interested in these things. What happened to us? We have become detached. And that detachment, which even great yogis and munis find difficult to achieve, very easily we have developed. How? Uktibihi, simply by hearing the words from the lotus lips of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, if we want to become detached from dussanga, if we want to become free from the attachment to this material world, whether it is playing, whether it is studies, whether it is making a career, a job, getting a prestigious degree, and becoming a renowned, famous person in the world, acquiring power, all these things, actually if we want to become free from all these things, then only way is that we have to attach ourselves to pure devotees of Krishna. If we attach ourselves to pure devotees of Krishna, then we can detach ourselves from the material world. We cannot detach ourselves from the material world, from material possessions, artificially. The process of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga tries to make the practitioner become detached artificially. Because it is artificial, what happens? Eventually, the person will again come back to doing the same old things. Like Prabhupada says, many Mayavadis, they say Jagan Mithya, Jagan Mithya, Jagan Mithya, Brahman Satya, and they say, and they reject the material world and they become renounced and they become sannyasis. And after becoming sannyasis, renouncing the whole world, they will go back and again start hospitals, orphanages. You only said this is illusion. Why are you going and again dabbling in that illusion? Because they cannot stay on that platform artificially for a long time. Whereas if one becomes a devotee of Krishna, one takes shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, one constantly hears the words from the lotus lips of a pure devotee like Prabhupada. Then what happens? Then we can always remain firm, steady on the platform of renunciation. Therefore, it is very, very important to read Prabhupada's books every day, hear Prabhupada's lectures every day. This is of utmost importance. If we give up our reading, if we stop reading Prabhupada's books, if we stop associating with Prabhupada's instructions, Santa eva se chindanti manovyasangam uktibihi. If we do not maintain our association, if we don't become attached to the ukti of Prabhupada, then what will happen? Manovyasangam. We will again go back to become attached to material possessions, material sense gratification we will become attached to. Therefore, to remain situated steadily on the platform of detachment, what is required? Attachment is required. Attachment to what? To pure devotees, to their instructions. And simply by becoming attached to the instructions of pure devotee, we can become detached from all material sense gratificatory activities which will bind us to this material world. And if we become attached to material sense gratification, we become bound to this material world of repeated birth and death. And if we become attached to the hearing from Srila Prabhupada every day I have to read Prabhupada's books. If I don't read, something is not okay. I don't feel satisfied. If we become attached like that to hear, to read Prabhupada's books every day without fail, 1 hour, then what happens? We will always remain detached. The material, the glitter of material nature of Maya will have no influence upon our heart. It will not attract us anymore. We will have no attachment to material sense gratificatory activities. This is the instruction of Kapila Dev to Devahuti. And Kapila Dev is reaching the conclusion of his instructions to Devahuti with respect to her first question, which was so she said, Athame deva sammoham apakrashtum tvamarhasi yo avagraho aham mameti iti etasmin yojitas tvaya. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relation. So her question was, how do I become free from this? How do I? And she said, Tam tva gataham saranam saranyam. I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. Swabhritya samsara tarohu kutaram. You are the kutara, you are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. So that was her question. I inquire from you. She was inquiring from Kapila Dev, how to cut off my material, cut off the tree of material existence. How do I cut off my attachment to the material world? And what was Kapila Deva's instructions? He is finally coming to the conclusion that the only way to become free from the being attached to the tree of material existence is to become attached to the pure devotees, the instructions of the pure devotees. So this is the point that Kapila Deva is instructing Devahuti. and therefore we should understand the importance of associating with Prabhupada every day by reading Prabhupada's books, and those instructions of Prabhupada will keep us always safe on the platform of renunciation or vairagya. I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.